Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book recommendations video. I have always wanted to do these videos, but I don't because I think I have not read enough books to recommend. But I think now, having been an avid reader for the past almost 2-3 years, I think I've read quite a few. So anyways, it's the end of October. It's officially the Halloween spooky season. There's a chill in the air, and I honestly have been craving a few thrillers and mysteries during this time. So I thought, let me just sit down and tell you guys about all of the books that I have read in this genre for the past few years. And I am not a very big thriller reader or mystery reader, but I do enjoy a very good thriller mystery. So that's why I thought I'll, instead of recommending books like read these, I'm just gonna tell you about all of the books that I have read and then let you know if I would recommend them or not. So just basically going through my list of thriller mystery books that I have read, and I'm just gonna tell you guys about them. And honestly, because I read so few in this genre, I tend to find books that are very popular. So most of the books I would definitely 100% recommend, but if there are a few that I feel like you could pass, I'll let you guys know about that too. So I think we have around 15 books, no more than that. I think around 17 books we have, and let's start discussing about them. Okay, so first up we have to talk about the queen of mysteries and thrillers, and that is Agatha Christie. I have honestly read quite a few of Agatha Christie's, and I actually began reading thrillers and mysteries through her. So first we have the classics. We have Death on the Nile. This is like the old paperback version of Agatha Christie's, and I really enjoyed this book, honestly. This is one of Hercule Poirot, whatever, his tales. So Agatha Christie basically writes books in which we have one detective who's solving some sort of murder. So we have either Hercule Poirot, who is the most famous of her not pen names, but like famous characters of hers, and then we also have Miss Marple, which is this book. A murder is announced by Agatha Christie. So this is a Miss Marple book, but she's the detective solving the murder. Honestly, she was also badass. I liked this book a lot as well. And then for more in Poirot, we have A Murder on the Orient Express, again a classic one. Johnny Depp is in the movie. And then The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. This honestly has been considered the book with the craziest plot twist ever in Agatha Christie books, because it really is kind of mind-blowing. And then lastly, we have the book that has been honestly voted for and decided as being the best Agatha Christie book, and I honestly agree with them, and that is And Then There Were None. This book is genuinely amazing. Basically, there is an island and 10 strangers are invited onto that island for a wedding, right? A wedding of two people who probably don't even exist, but they're important people. They have been invited over onto the island, and I think there's a caretaker as well, and there's no wedding happening over there, obviously, but they have been now cut off from the mainland, right? And slowly each one of them starts dying, and it's crazy. This book is genuinely, I mean, it has been said that this came first in a global vote to find the world's favorite Agatha Christie book for her 125th birthday, and it really is amazing. If there's any book out of these that I would suggest to pick up first, if you've not read Agatha Christie before, or you have but you haven't read any of these, then I would suggest And Then There Were None, as well as these two books, Murder on the Orient Express and Murder of Roger Ackroyd. I think these books are a great taste of how Agatha Christie is when she's at her best. Yeah. I have also read another book by Agatha Christie, An Unexpected Guest. This was also, I think, Poirot, and it was a very short, fast-paced book. Yeah, there's really nothing else I can tell about that, but it was a classic Agatha Christie. Honestly, if you guys start reading Agatha Christie, if you have been reading Agatha Christie, you know that her books have this different kind of vibe to it, and I honestly love them. So yeah, I do definitely plan on reading much more by her. Okay, now next up we have a YA thriller mystery series, and that is none other than A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is a trilogy written by Holly Jackson, and this book has been very famous over TikTok, over BookTube, over everywhere, and there's also a Netflix series out for the first book, and honestly it's very good. It's done justice to the book. There are obviously things that have been left out, but that's how things work, you know. But this series has been one of my favorite thriller mysteries ever. So if you don't know, this series is about a high school student named Pip, and for extra grades or for extra credits, whatever, she decides to do a project, whatever, where she's trying to solve the murder of Andy Bell, who was one of her schoolmates, not the same classmate, but schoolmates, and it's all in the same town. And the time when Annie Bell was killed or her body was found, whatever, everyone suspected her boyfriend, Sal, and basically she does not feel like Sal did the murder. So that's why she decided on doing this project on trying to find the real killer behind Annie Bell's murder. And then obviously as she's going through, you know, talking to people, finding evidence, and recording her podcast at the same time, well, stuff starts happening, and it's honestly very, very interesting. Each book gets crazier and crazier. It's amazing. I really enjoyed it, and I think when it comes to YA, this is, I think, one of the best books ever. There are more books by Holly Jackson as well. I have not read them, but I have heard great things about them, especially Five Survive. So even though I have not read them, I'm telling you they're good. You can read that one as well if you have already read this series and you want more by Holly Jackson. Okay, now I want to talk about another one of my favorite authors. Okay, I have read not a lot by him, but what I have read has been so good, so mesmerizing, so scary. All of those feelings that you would want a thriller book to, you know, make you have. So we have Riley Sager here. This is the only book of his that I own, but I have read others as well. So in this book, we're following a bunch of final girls, which are basically girls who have somehow survived some massacre, like a school shooting or a mall fire, and there's one survivor from each, and the media names them as final girls, right? And because they're so prominent people in the media, in the news, and they're also going through their own trauma because they have that survivalist guilt and all of that, they are kind of connected to each other. They keep in touch with each other, and then in this book they slowly, one of them, like each one of them, starts dying until we have the final girl left. And honestly, this book was crazy. This book was so crazy. It was scary. It felt too real. The story, the plot, the stuff that was happening, the crimes that were happening, it felt too real. And I enjoyed every single second of this book. Even the writing style of Riley Sager, I enjoyed so much because I did not really expect a thriller mystery novel to have beautiful writing in any way, but this one did. Riley Sager's writing, I love it more than anything else. So yeah, I read this and I wanted to straight dive into more of his books. So I picked up House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is one of his most popular books, right? And well, it should be. It's really good. If you've seen my recent wrap-ups, I have talked a lot more about this book, so I'm not going to go blabbering about it more. You can go and watch that video of mine. I'm also currently in the middle of Only One Left by Riley Sager. This is his, I think, last year's new release, and I'm really enjoying it. Again, writing skill, the writing style that Riley Sager has, it makes the story so intriguing. You want to know more no matter what. Even if it's the worst thing possible, you want to know more. And yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Those are the only books that I have read by Riley Sager, but there are, I know, quite a few more that I know that I will really enjoy them as well. So I'm just gonna put them here up on the screen wherever there's space, because I feel like they will definitely hit the mark just like the other Riley Sager books have, because I trust people's recommendations and I just trust Riley Sager as a whole author. So yeah, that's about Riley Sager. Okay, now I'm just gonna go through a bunch of other books that I've also read, not necessarily by same authors, but really good thriller mystery books, right? So first up we have The Silent Patient by Alex, whatever this person is. This another is one of the most popular books, thriller mystery books, and I think it should be too. I mean, the plot twist in this is pretty crazy. I don't exactly remember what happens in this because I read this a very long time ago, but all I know is that there's a wife who is admitted into the psychiatric facility, and she would not speak. She's not speaking at all. She's been suspected of a murder. I'm not gonna tell you what because I don't think that's mentioned back here, so I don't want to spoil it for you. But the psychotherapist who's working with Alicia, the main girl in this, who's not talking anymore, he's basically trying to dig out what went wrong, why she allegedly committed the crime that she committed. And yeah, the plot twist in this is also pretty crazy. I still remember it. By the same author now, we have The Maidens. This book is honestly weird. I did not like it. I mean, it was good, but it was a very mid book to me. I think there are more books by this author that I've heard much better things about. So maybe you could skip this book, right? This one follows a college study group in Cambridge. So we have one professor and he has a bunch of students, and I think the students are doing some stuff for the professor, some weird satanic shit. Yeah, a group under the sinister influence of the enigmatic professor Edward Fosca, and some stuff starts happening, people start dying. It's weird. I would not recommend this 100%, but if you're bored, you can definitely pick this book up. I think it tries to take out stuff from Greek mythology and stuff because he's a Greek mythology professor. That's all I remember about it. Then we have, I think this is considered a classic, and it rightfully should. It's The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. This book has been converted into, I think, a bunch of movies in different industries everywhere, and I really enjoyed this book. It was very, very good. This book basically follows our main character who has, I think, lost her husband, lost her job, everything, and she has turned into an alcoholic. So in order to not piss off her sister, she basically rides the train every day, rides it to London, and then comes back pretending that she has a dog, but she's just drinking on the entire way, right? And on the route that her train takes, she comes across this house where she can see that there's this couple living, and she gets really envious of the woman because she's like, she's living my life. Yeah, my life should have been like that if my husband was still here. If I was not an alcoholic, that's what my life should be. So she gets really, really fascinated by this couple, and she is basically stalking them every time she's crossing that train until she starts seeing something weird happening. I think that's all I'm going to tell you about it. She sees something weird, and then stuff starts escalating from there, and it gets escalated quite a lot. And I really loved this book. There was not a single minute in this book where I was bored. I just wanted to see what was happening further on, and I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend this to anyone. Even if you're a non-reader, I think you can pick up this book. You will have a great time. Next up, we have The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I've heard great things about Lucy Foley as an author, but this book is not one of them. I know that. This book was a bit, not boring, but I think a little bit too predictable, a little bit too easy. I mean, you want your thrillers to make your mind work, right? That's how it's thrilling. This book, I think, was a little bit too easy on the thrilling aspect of it, so I did not enjoy it a lot. I don't even remember what the plot is, but it has something to do with an apartment complex in Paris. And in this, we have multiple POVs of a lot of people living in that apartment complex. And one day, a female main character, I don't know, she comes to this apartment complex because that is where her brother is living, only to find out the brother's gone missing, right? So she stays in her brother's apartment and she's trying to figure out where is he. He's not, like, he's a very responsible person. Where did he go? So she's tries to get in touch with other people living in this apartment complex, and everyone's being very shady, and that's where basically the plot goes, and we get to know stuff. There's stuff revealed, but I think it was a little bit too predictable, a little bit too slow. And I know Lucy Foley has written much better books. I just don't think this Paris Apartment is the one you should begin with like I did, because I've never picked up another Lucy Foley ever again. Then finally, I want to talk about, well, not finally, I have about other books as well, but these two books are my favorite when it comes to thriller mysteries. They're my favorite, okay? So first up, we have Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Finney. This book is so weird, I cannot explain it. All I know is we have a couple, Adam and Amelia, who are spending their weekend out in this completely secluded house in the middle of Scotland, I think. Yes, no, Scottish Highlands. Okay, it's completely remote location, and they're over there. And the main character, Adam, he has a problem, a medical issue where he has face blindness, where he cannot recognize who that person is, right? So that's some basic, like, gist of what you need to know before you get into this book if you want to know more. But yeah, this book was crazy. It was super crazy, and I loved it so much. Literally never got bored. Always, I mean, you think that this is happening, you think this is happening, and then it's just boom, no, you know. And I really enjoyed it. I think everyone should pick up this book and read it. It's mind fuckingly crazy. And then we have, this is a Indian author, so we have The Girl in the Glass Case by Devashish Sardana. This book was so good. I mean, this needs to be converted into a Netflix series soon. It needs to be. It's so good. So in this book we have a serial killer in town who is being named the Doll Maker, because what he does is he, well, kills young boys, young girls, and then makes them into dolls and puts them out on display on the road and stuff like that. Okay, and obviously when you have a serial killer like that who's so brutal and is doing so many killings so soon, they become like the main highlight in the news, right? So when that starts happening, when the doll maker becomes the main target of the media, there is an pre-existing serial killer named the Clipper, who has been a serial killer for over for over a decade now. Every year he does one murder and his name comes up on the news and stuff like that, and he's getting mad now because he's like, I'm the only one who's supposed to be in the media attention. Why is this new person coming up? So then these two serial killers get into a fight, in a sense that let's see who can do more killings and let's see who will be the media favorite. I know that sounds crazy, and it is crazy. This book is so good. I mean, I honestly only bought it because it was an Indian author, so it was coming at a very cheap price on Amazon. But I'm so glad I did. This book is one of the best books I have ever read. I think across all genres, this is one of the best books I've ever written. Oh, I've ever read. And also we have the POV of our police officer Simone Singh. She is trying to uncover all of this, and her boss has been the one who is trying to uncover the Clipper killings, right? And it's just a great book. I would recommend this to every single person. You need to read this book. This is a masterpiece by an Indian author. Go ahead, go and get this book. It's gonna be super cheap, or you can get it on like a PDF. You need to read this book. This book is really amazing. There's another author, I completely forgot about her because I don't have the physical copies of her books, and that is Frida McFadden. This is also one of the authors who has kind of blown up on like Book Talk and BookTube over the past, I think, a year or so. So I have read her Housemaid trilogy. I have another third book, but first two books I've read by Frida McFadden, and I think they were good, especially the first one. It was good. If you don't know the story, it basically revolves around a housemaid who has been assigned to this new house. She's been like employed in this new house, and her room is the attic room. But when she reaches there, she realizes the attic room does not even have a lock. It has a lock on the outside, which seems weird. And the wife also seems very paranoid, very weird the entire time. Like, she's telling her to do something, and then once our main character does that thing, she starts screaming and stuff like, I never told you to do that, stuff like that. And weird stuff is happening, and then we have another crazy plot twist. So yeah, I think Housemaid is one of her best books. I think Frida McFadden's best books, and I would definitely recommend it to everyone. There are other books by her as well that I've heard great things about. There is Never Lie, and I think a few more. I'm gonna put them up on the screen here. So if you want to get more into Frida McFadden, you can definitely pick up these books. I have not read more of hers because I feel like I just didn't feel like. There's no reason, there's no hate. A lot of people enjoy all of her books, and I think you guys should too if you are interested. Okay, now those were, I think, all of the books. If I'm missing any, I'm gonna put them down in the description in case I am missing any, because I probably am, you know. But before I end this video, I wanted to talk about these two books, which are kind of thriller mystery, but they're by Colleen Hoover. And I know there's been a lot of backlash against Colleen Hoover this past year, and I think rightfully so. I don't know. I don't want to say anything controversial. All I'm going to say is these are two books by Colleen Hoover which were kind of freaky, kind of thrilling, and I want to talk about them as well. So first is the very well-known Verity by Colleen Hoover. So this book follows our our main character, who has been hired by this family to kind of shadow write the wife's series, because the wife has faced an accident because of which she's not able to continue writing, but because she has a contract that needs to be fulfilled, our main character is brought into their house and she's supposed to write those few books. But then she starts noticing weird stuff happening about the wife, you know, who's supposed to be immobile, not supposed to be talking, all of those things, but something weird is happening. And because it's Colleen Hoover, it's also a bit of romance, where our main character gets into a romance with the author wife's husband, and it's crazy. It's crazy. The last, I think, 10 pages of this book will rip you apart in every single way possible. And I mean, I honestly do not think that this book is bad. I think this book is good. Yes, there are things in it that are problematic, because I think there are a bunch of problematic things in Colleen Hoover books, but still I think I would not discourage people from reading this one. On the other hand, now we have Layla by Colleen Hoover. This is a paranormal thriller, and this was just weird. Okay, it was just weird. So we have a husband and wife who are moved into this new house, I think, trying to reconnect, whatever, but they face a traumatic event, after which the wife starts acting really weird, and there's a ghost in the house as well, and the husband is talking to the ghost, and the wife is acting all weird. Honestly, there was this point in this book, I'm almost halfway, where I was like, I don't like this trope at all, I am gonna DNF this book. But then I turned the page and then there was a plot twist, so I was like, okay, I can keep reading this now. So this is a very kind of, like, I wouldn't recommend this book to anyone, honestly, but if you did pick up this book, I think you could possibly have a good time on that. That's all I have to say about it. Apart from these, there are a few books that are very, very famous, very popular. I haven't read them, but I am really dying to read them. So I'm just gonna put them up on screen over here right now, and I will go ahead and say that I am recommending these books as well. I have not read them, but I trust the people who have recommended these books to me, and they're definitely in my radar for this year, for me to read this year. So yeah, I just wanted to share that as well. So yeah, those were all of the books. Again, if I've missed any that I have read but I did not mention in this video, I'm going to you know, mention it down in the description box. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys got a few recommendations from this video for the not new, but the ongoing spooky season, because I'm pretty late in making this video. And yeah, if you've read any of these books, please let me know, and I'll see you soon. Bye.